Hello, Ian here from Dark Blaze Workshop. Welcome back to another video. In this one we're doing the pawn shop from Multiverse Gaming. Okay, so this is the MDF multi-kit from Multiverse Gaming. Really nice one to do actually. So we'll be going through the whole process from the painting, the weathering and graffiti. So yeah, hopefully you'll enjoy it. Okay, I've got the pawn shop from Multiverse Gaming MDF kit. Brilliant company. They make some lovely stuff. In fact, I think all of the buildings on my board are made from this company, so can't big them up enough. I've got the sign, so I'm going to leave that to one side for now, because I'm hopefully going to try and do a neon effect for the sign. So, first stage, I'm not going to mess about with primers or anything. I'm just going to do a base coat of Mornfang brown to all the brickwork, and I'm using a brush. I'm not going to bother with an airbrush because I've got quite a large, well, wide brush. I'm just going to do a couple of thin coats. Because we'll be using the airbrush later on to get the variation going in tone then. So I won't bore you. With the rest, so it's going to take me a while to do all the brickwork, as you can see, so I'll come back when I'm finished. So you can probably see from the last layer it's a little bit streaky, so that's why I'm going in with a second coat. So you get a nice even coverage on it. And we'll fire up the airbrush to do some highlights on it. Okay, so the two coats of Mornfang done. I've got XV88 in the airbrush now. You'll notice that I haven't done these strips here because I'm going to keep them grey. But I'm going to go in with a highlight of XV88 now, and that's all I'm going to do is just to make it look like the light is shining. Getting a bit wider because we need to highlight inside that area. Change direction on it as well, S shapes, and I prefer just going down at a diagonal angle. Alright, I'll carry on with the rest of the building. Okay, next highlight is 50/50 XV88 with Balo Brown, and I'm going to try and stay within the area that we just highlighted with the XV88, so we get a bit of a transition going. Okay, next layer is Baylor Brown. Try and stay way within than what we did before. So very small. Very small areas. Well, relatively small areas. Oh, it's coming. Okay. A bit of a tedious stage now is the grey that separates each level, and I'm using, it's pretty close to Dawn Stone. And basically don't forget to do the top bit and underneath as well, and go all the way around, and then do that level and then this level as well. This bit's going to take ages. You can remove that and it'll save you making any mistakes on the brown below, but be careful with these two stripes when you do the top and bottom bit. So the next stage on the pawn shop is a bit of graffiti. I usually do the weathering first, but I thought if I put a bit of graffiti on there and then do the weathering, it'll look as though it's been there a bit longer than, you know, fresh graffiti. So I'm going to do a couple of bits of graffiti first and then we'll weather it afterwards. So my process is to come up with a design. Now you can either look for these online and or real life if you see them, take a picture with your phone or save the image and then transfer that to this is draftsman paper or tracing paper will do. It's a bit thick because I've gone over the lines on that side, so when I push down on this side again, funny enough, if I push down on this side again, it'll transfer onto the paper. So if I write over the lines, I'm just going around the outer edge of it. I'm not so worried about the bits that are inside of the shape, because this is going to be the template that we use to add the paint to the building. So you're left with something like that. So obviously you need to write over that again. I'll copy the design from there as well, keep an eye on it, make sure you don't deviate. it's just a case of cutting this out. So for cutting out, I'll use a scalpel, or if it's a big enough design and you can get some scissors in there, use them. Tell you what, let's skip a bit. So once you've cut all the way around, you should be able to remove the center part. Helps if you go all the way around. So make sure you hang on to the original design because you'll need that in a minute. But what we're interested in now is using this template. So I've taken a template now and I decided that's where it's going to go because this side of the building is going to be more visible on the board than the other three. I'm going to plaster this side, so it doesn't make sense to have graffiti right at the top, so I'm just going to concentrate from there down. So it should just fit inside, but the thing I need to think about now is my main technique is to do a couple of colours inside the template, but I always have a background colour. So my background colour is going to be red, so I'll spray the area, most of that area red. Then I'll apply the template and I've chosen 3 colours to go grey, blue, pink. So the first thing we do is to do the background on there. So I'll get the airbrush ready with a red in it and we'll just cover the background of the graffiti. So I've got my red ready. Let's test it before we go on. Try and fade it around the border. Let's just move the airbrush away, but then when you go towards the middle, get a bit heavier. I'll just check that the template is going to fit inside of that. I think a bit more red at the top there. Doesn't matter if I go onto the bricks, because I'm sure the graffiti artist wasn't really bothered when he did it. Okay, so I think we're ready. You don't have to fill in the whole thing because we're going to be going over that anyway. So we'll leave that to dry. Okay, so the template fits just about. I just need to trim a little bit more off because I'd like it to sit a bit higher up. If I had the template, say that was the top of the template, if I had it like that, there's room for error, so the airbrush paint will go underneath the template. If you have it flat against the surface that you want to use, the more the better. So what I'm going to do with that part of the red is to mask that off with a little bit of masking tape, just in case. So there's no danger of the grey messing up over the red where we don't want it. So it's a good idea to wear a glove now and just prepare the grey in the airbrush. So let's transfer that in now. I usually use a couple of drops of flow improver first, about 3 drops of paint, and then about 3 drops of thinner, and have a look, see what it's like. If I need to add more thinner, I will. 9 times out of 10 I do. But you never know, because every paint is different. Well, every paint line is different. I'm using Vallejo, so I've got a rough idea. So, right, and concentrate the grey towards the top. Try and hold down the template if you can, or spray down. And we'll just do the top third. So push that back in. So we've got the top third done now. I think it's a pretty good coverage. Go over it again if you're not sure. I think we're ready for the next colour. So I think I said the next one was light blue. So I'll do a quick clean of the airbrush with some screen wash. Just run it through, do a backflow, empty it out, and it's pretty much clean then. So the next colour, 2 drops of flow improver. Just run it through a little bit. The flow improver stops it drying at the tip. So drop of paint, 1, 2, 3 will do. Test. I think we're ready to go, so I'll hold the template down and we'll concentrate in the middle now. There we go. Let's clean out the airbrush quickly. Right, I think we're ready for the I think this one is magenta. So this time we're going to concentrate down towards the bottom of the template. For now. I think, yeah, ready to go. This might be a wee bit difficult, so I'll do it in sections. There we are, I think we're done now. So I'll just remove the template and the masking tape. I think we've got a pretty good outline there, so not bad. Next stage is to outline it with some black now. So this is where it's handy to have the original tracing about, so you can see the lettering. So we'll just copy that onto here. So it's using Vallejo black. The beauty of graffiti is it doesn't really matter if you go thick or thin around the outside, because 9 times out of 10 you're going to put a shadow on one side of the lettering anyway. Alright, so I think that's the H, and that's the H. So this gap in the H we'll need to fill in with red, you know, the base colour that we used. So that's the outline. It's just a matter of doing the lettering on the inside now. And this is the difficult part, actually. So if I go, I can put the template over the top just to check where we are. And it'll give you a rough idea of where, you know, these inside lines of the S go. So I've got to start about there and head out to the H and then back round again. So I'm going to carry on with this, and we'll come back when it's done. So it's the main lettering done, so I'm going back to the flat red now. I'm just going to fill in Just to redo that bit of black there. Okay. Alright, so for the shadows then, by that I mean to give the graffiti like a 3D effect, I'm going to add a little bit to the borders here and there. Next bit is highlights. So because we've got shadows down the bottom, it's a good idea to put your highlights up the top. I'll be using white for this, and stay under the black border that you did, but just highlight across the top of each letter. And it just gives it a nice little touch to it. This one again. Right. Not too bad, not too bad. So the next piece is one of my favourites actually. It's the outline of a Riddler. So I'm going to use a black background to it. So I've got, well, I say black, it's really, really dark grey. So I'm going to use this as the outline. And this will be for the green to stand out against. So I'm just going to check now that it's high enough and wide enough. For what we want. So if I get the template and I stand it there, yeah, there's going to be plenty of room there, so I can fill fill the rest in. I'll go a bit more intense with the paint so we get a good coverage, and we'll wait for that to dry. So dark grey is dry. What I've done with the template is added little bits of blue tack on it just to hold it in position. Just make sure it's not going to move. And what I've got in my airbrush now is Scale 75's Errati green. It's quite a strong green. So this is going to be not the outline of the figure, but the peripheral. So I'm going to go with a lighter green towards the body or the outline of the template. Leave that dry. So what I'm going to do now, I've got a lighter green, Scale 75 Spring Green. It's more of a yellowy green, and I'm going to try and keep it close to the template, so it looks like he's glowing. Just take your time on this bit, nice and gentle. It's just a case of removing the template then. And the blue tack, of course. There we go. Just going to go through the process again for this one. I've made another template. The text looks something similar to that. So I might do it straight, and so I'm thinking maybe going for a monochrome approach on this one. So I'm going to go with a dark grey background, and then the text is going to be like an off-white colour with a black border. Just again, I saw this online and I thought, yeah, I've got to do that. It looks pretty cool. So I've got enough of a border around the text. So the next thing I'll do, I'll cut this down so that the top of the template will fit along that ridge. So I'm fairly happy that that sits in there nicely. So it's right in the middle of the grey background, and I'm going to mask off the rest of it so that I don't go spoiling the paint job underneath with white paint. So I'll just add the masking tape there. And I'll probably go along the top as well. And I'm ready to add the white. So for this one I'm using aged white with a little bit of regular white added to it. Because I didn't want a stark white colour. So that's why I'm going for a slightly dirtier looking white. Just flipping it around so that I can put the template up against the brickwork to stop it flapping about. I'll leave that coat dry. While that's drying, I know I want to use the white as a background on another one around this side, so I'll just add the border. I'll probably use a red text inside of this. Just using the air from the airbrush, I'm not pressing down so the paint comes through, just to speed up the drying process so I can do another layer or another coat. Yeah, it's still quite wet. I have to wait a wee bit longer. So second layer. I think we're done there. Okay, so because I wasn't holding the template down close enough to the wall, I had a bit of an overspray or a bleed. So I've gone around the edges with the original base coat, but now on hindsight I should have just carried on and done the outline in black, but lesson learnt. So I'm going in with a black now to outline the actual outline the actual lettering. So just to reiterate, I shouldn't have bothered with doing the grey, and just come straight in with the black. Oh, sorry. Oh, I'm going all over the place now. Knocked the camera. Apologies. Right, so this looks like a B. So I'm going to come round this way. And that is the same letter.
There's an actual dot here, so I'll do the outline of the dot and then fill it in with the aged white. I just need to tidy up a few bits and I think we're there. There's a little bit of lettering inside this as well. Looks like a 42 kg for some reason, but we'll put that in. And TTK underneath. No idea what that means, but that's that one done. As I say, I just need to fill in the white now, but I'll add on a thicker border, but I'll go this way this time. Okay. So just to finish off, I'll do the dot. I take a couple of coats just to build this up. Okay, that's another one done. So next stage is a weathering.